Thanks for joining us from the Ohio AgNet Voice You Know with the News You Trust studio, sponsored by BASF, where you can count on the trusted performance of Allevo seed treatment to protect your soybean crop. Well, the National FFA Convention wrapped up over the weekend, and here's the list of Ohio's winners. Let's start with Proficiency Awards. In agricultural processing, entrepreneurship, and placement, Blake Schmidtmeyer of Versailles FFA. The Dairy Production Placement Award category went to Colin Batten, also of Versailles FFA, and Diversified Agricultural Production, Entrepreneurship, and Placement went to Lincoln Winter, also of Versailles FFA. In the career development events, Food Science and Technology, Big Walnut DACC won, and as Joshua Shutt, Maddie Dibble, Riley Norling, and Laney Soul. In the Agri-Science Fair, two different divisions, Animal Science Division 6 was won by Haley Wendling and Lydia Hamilton of Felicity Franklin FFA, and Social Science Division 2 went to Cecilia Gamble and Lena Hennon of the New Lexington FFA chapter. Congratulations to those award winners and everybody else who was competing, moms and dads, foundation sponsors, and all the FFA members. Hope you had a great time in Indianapolis. Today's weather is brought to you by Seed Consultants. Simply better performance online at seedconsultants.com. Here's the forecast.
Dry weather to start off the work week. I'm Chief Meteorologist Ryan Martin. Let's take a look at that Ohio Ag weather update. We're watching low pressure pass by over Ontario to the north. Cloud cover gets close to us, may impact some northwest Ohio counties, but I'm not worried about precipitation at all. And we see partly to mostly sunny skies pretty much everywhere late this afternoon and ahead of sunset. The rest of this week, sunny, warm, and dry, at least through Thursday. High pressure being analyzed in over the central and western Corn Belt Wednesday, Thursday, well above normal temperatures pretty much all week here. Overnight, Thursday night into Friday, we see a frontal boundary set up just to our west and northwest, and it slides through Michigan and Indiana right away Friday morning, hits us Friday midday, afternoon, and evening. I'm looking for 100% coverage across the Buckeye State, and I think we'll see anywhere from 1/10 to 3/4 of an inch of precipitation when we're all said and done. However, it's done quickly, and I think Saturday right now turns out partly to mostly sunny, at least early on. Clouds increasing late, and toward midnight we see showers coming back into Ohio for the overnight period into early Sunday. This secondary surge doesn't have nearly as much coverage, probably about 50% overall, another 1/10 to half an inch coming, but what it does do is open up the door to much colder air that races in Sunday afternoon, bitterly cold overnight Sunday night, and we are quite chilly Monday, Tuesday, early Wednesday. If you haven't had a hard freeze yet, if you've been lucky and you've escaped, this is your time. It's going to end the growing season for everyone, even if you haven't had it yet. I'm Ryan Martin.
And thanks, Ryan. Let's check in with Joel Penorwood for this month's Revving It Up.
As harvest and the performance of our combines are fresh in our minds here in Ohio, we take this time in our monthly Ag Revolution series to talk about one of their offerings, Gleaner Combines, and what separates them from the pack.
Hi, my name's Aaron Byer. I'm the marketing product specialist for Gleaner Combines, and try to describe it as I'm an educator. So I educate not only our dealers, but our customers on how to best operate and maintain their Gleaner Combines. It really is a different experience when harvesting with a Gleaner Combine. The reliability, the simplicity, and really the overall production of the machine, for being such a simple, small machine, is really impressive, simply because we're trying to bring value to farmers. Ultimately, guys don't get to control their profits from their commodities, so we got to control cost. And the best way to do that is to being with a simple, reliable machine that is very efficient. And we have that really wrapped up well in a Gleaner Combine. Probably one of the most efficient, simple machines on the market that's still able to do a really great capacity and do more in harvest than just get it done faster. Because other machines prioritize speed and capacity rather than just the whole harvest of itself. Where Gleaner Combines, we still get great speed, great capacity of the machine, but we also get one of the best bin samples in the industry and do it for less, with less compaction to the ground, which helps your yields, and then also a better bin sample, which helps the storability of the grain.
You can find that full video talking about Gleaner Combines from Ag Revolution online today at ohioagnet.com and learn more at agrev.com. I'm Joel Penorwood reporting.
And thanks, Joel. Clean Fuels Alliance America thanked 49 senators and representatives who signed a letter to EPA Administrator Lee Zeldin urging him to finalize the 2026-27 RFS rule as quickly as possible and calling for reallocation of 100% of the waived gallons from any granted small refinery exemptions. These volumes matter, not just to biofuel producers, but to farmers who grow the corn, soybeans, and other feedstocks that power this economy, and to every American who enjoys lower prices at the pump because of biofuels, the letter states. As EPA considers its supplemental proposal, we urge the agency to fully reallocate 100% of the waived gallons for compliance years 2023 and 2024. On a similar note, the National Corn Growers Association called on the Environmental Protection Agency to reallocate 100% of its waivers for small refineries through its supplemental rulemaking process. A strong, transparent, and balanced RFS remains a cornerstone of America's agriculture and energy success, said NCGA CEO Neil Caskey. The statement was included in stakeholder comments submitted to EPA at the agency's request. Under the Renewable Fuel Standard enacted in 2025, EPA sets the renewable volume obligations each year, specifying the amount of renewable fuel that refiners and importers of petroleum products must blend into the nation's fuel supply. EPA has the authority to issue small refinery exemptions to refiners that can demonstrate disproportionate economic harm from compliance. NCGA has long argued that a dependable renewable fuel standard is critical to unlocking America's domestic energy potential, promoting ethanol growth, and driving corn demand. The group has also discouraged the overuse of exemptions. And the American Farm Bureau Federation President Zippy Duvall commented on China's agreement to resume soybean imports from the U.S. Farm Bureau is encouraged by China's commitment to import soybeans and sorghum from the United States. Trade disputes dealt a blow to farmers who have already been hit hard by high expenses and historically low commodity prices. This 3-year agreement comes within days of announced trade deals with Malaysia and Cambodia, along with framework with Thailand and Vietnam. Expanding markets and restoring purchases by China will provide some certainty for farmers who are struggling just to hold on. We appreciate the administration for listening to the needs of America's farmers. As additional details are made known, we will look forward to evaluating how these agreements will benefit U.S. farm economy. Back with more after this.
Whether you're in the fields or on the farm, creating a safer work environment has never been easier. BWC's safety consulting services are included with your policy premiums and offer training and education for everyone in your farming operation. It's always the right time to make safety a priority. Visit bwc.ohio.gov or call 1-800-644-6292. The Ohio Bureau of Workers' Compensation, here to help you work safely.
Get the equipment and trucks you need at the Ritchie Brothers' next Great Lakes Regional event on November 12th and 13th. This absolute unreserved auction will feature online bidding, and items are located in Columbus, Chicago, and Detroit. Choose from close to 3,000 items, including a wide selection of construction equipment, semi-trucks, and more. Don't miss Ritchie Brothers' Great Lakes Regional event on November 12th and 13th. For more details, visit rbauction.com. Again, that's rbauction.com.
The harvest price for crop insurance fails to offer higher safety net protection than the spring price, with the average for December corn futures closing the month at $4.22 a bushel and November soybeans at $10.36 a bushel, despite a rally this past week. Now, crop insurance guarantees going back to 2013. Crop insurance uses February and October to set revenue guarantees for corn and soybeans. This year, the harvest price for both crops are lower than the spring guarantees. The Farmer Price Protection will use the spring crop insurance guaranteed prices to set at the end of February, $4.70 a bushel for corn and $10.54 for soybeans. The harvest prices are set based on a running average throughout October of the closing price for November soybean contract and the December corn contract. Based on Risk Management Agency data, the crop insurance price guarantees apply to roughly 90 million acres of corn and 75 million acres of soybeans. Both totals are lower than USDA's planted acres because some farmers choose to self-insure their crops. I'll have the overnight markets and analysis after this. Think biodiesel is just another fuel? Think again. Biodiesel is Ohio innovation on the move. Clean, green, and built to keep diesel engines running strong. It's an engine booster, a soybean supporter, and an environmental champion all in one. Every gallon reduces emissions, strengthens Ohio farms, and powers your ride. Drive with purpose. Choose biodiesel. Learn how at soyohio.org. Today's market analysis is brought to you by the Louis Dreyfus Company. Excited to be building the newest state-of-the-art soybean crush facility in Upper Sandusky, Ohio. For marketing information on your beans to LDC, call 574-566-2113. With our analysis, here's Ryan Martin.
Grain markets finished mixed to a little bit higher on Friday. As we take a look back at action, it came after kind of a squirrely start to the day, but corn finished steady to about a penny higher. Beans up anywhere from 7.5 to 9. Soybean meal was stronger last Friday. Soybean oil, though, was down just shy of 100 points on the nearby. So clearly the oil complex not as enamored with the Chinese story as other markets are. Wheat markets were up as well, anywhere from 6 to 11 higher, depending where you're at, Chicago, KC, or otherwise. So, what are we looking at this week? Well, Chinese demand is still the exciting factor in the bean market. We heard a total of 7 cargoes have been booked by the Chinese since right before and right after the big meeting last week. That would equate to just under 500,000 tons. All right, remember, we've been told that the 12 million metric tons that was announced last week will be purchased this year. Now, does that mean the end of December, or does that mean through January? I've heard it through January. I guess it doesn't matter. But 500,000 tons, purchasing 12 million, that means we've got 11.5 to go. 25 million metric ton minimums will be purchased in each of the next 3 years. Remember, as of right now, this deal has not been signed yet. Officials were hopeful that it could be completed this week. Now, here's the crazy thing about all the warm and fuzzies on the trade deal. We have so many counterpoints being made by U.S. officials of how we can't trust the Chinese or how unreliable they are in regards to trade and other geopolitical dealings. It's like we'll keep a positive attitude because this time might be different, but we'll be preparing ourselves to be disappointed. On one hand, that's the kind of talking point I expect to hear out of farmers. You know what? How many years in history do we have to go back where we're talking about Chinese cancellations? 10 years ago, those were the stories. We had the weekly export sales report, bookings were so much, and then you had cancellations, and they were almost always the Chinese. So I guess I was not surprised to hear this out of farmers. I am a little bit surprised to hear U.S. officials that were wanting to get the trade deal done still talking out of both sides of their mouth. It's good to keep your expectations managed, but geez, I'm Ryan Martin.
And thanks, Ryan. Today's market is brought to you by Seed Consultants. Simply better performance online at seedconsultants.com. Overnight at the open, December corn up 1.5 pennies at $4.33. March up 1 3/4 at $4.56 3/4, and May's up 1 3/4 at $4.54. November beans up 11 at $11.10 3/4. January 11.23 3/4, up 8.5, and March, if you carried out that far, $11.31 1/2, up 7.5. July wheat up 2 at $5.69 1/4, and September up 1.5 pennies at $5.81 1/2. On Friday's close, December cattle down $1.42 at $229.67. February down $1.82 at $227.67. December lean hogs up 45 cents at 81.27. February was up 42 cents at 82.52. January feeder cattle, $331.90, down $2.32. March, down $2.10 at $327.12. And just a reminder, tomorrow we'll check in with the folks at Ohio Corn and Wheat for our monthly update. This is the Ohio AgNet.